Have you ever felt that you could be so much more further along in life if you just didn't have so many things weighing you down? Or that if you could finally be free from your past, the bad childhood, all the failures and mistakes, the regrets, the injustices, that you could be and do so much more? Well, what if I told you that you could live a life without limits? That it is possible to be completely free of every addiction, fear, insecurity, and obstacle that has ever held you back. If that's you, then stay tuned as we begin our brand new series on destroying limitation. Good morning and happy Monday. Thank you so much for watching my YouTube channel and welcome to my Rise and Grind to Shine bright and early Monday morning inspiration as we begin our brand new series on destroying limitations. I'm so excited to start this series, guys. But before we get started, for those of you that like to follow along with the devotionals, my website is back up, so you can go to it. The link is in the description. www.drebonyraymond.com. Click on Wellness Corner, and from there it will direct you to download for free the PDFs. And today's lesson has already been uploaded. So with that being said, let's get started. Today's topic for discussion is the chains that bind. And we have two passages of scripture for our text. The first is Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. And the second is Luke chapter 4, verses 18 through 19. So chains, shackles, weights, they all represent imprisonment and a lack of freedom. They are physical restraints that restrict us and prevent us from moving freely about. And although many of us have never and will never be physically incarcerated, so many of us suffer from imprisonment, whether it be emotionally, financially, mentally, or spiritually. And despite the fact that we can't see these chains, they are often felt. And just like in the natural, they restrict us and they impair our ability to move freely and progress throughout life. So many people have so many chains in their life. And the problem is that these chains determine so many aspects of our lives. They determine why and how we make certain decisions. They affect how we interact with others, how we love, or for some of us, how we don't love. They even affect our thought patterns. Ultimately, these chains dictate our position in life, the type of relationships that we have, and how we view the world. In our first passage of scripture found in our text in Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1, this is why Paul instructs us to shake off these weights so that we can run full force the race, the journey in life that is set before us. And it states, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin that so easily trips us up, and let us run with endurance the race that God has set before us. You don't have to be a marathon runner or even just a recreational runner to understand or relate to this text. Have you ever walked any amount of distance with one bag or more of groceries? Or if you're like me and you struggle a lot just in everyday life, have you ever had to go through the airport or catch a train or a bus or whatever, full force with luggage in tow, trying to reach your final destination. If you have, you know that the added weight makes it infinitely more difficult, that your travel experience is that much harder because of the excess baggage, and you cannot wait until the excess baggage has been removed. In the same manner, Jesus is ready and willing to remove every limitation, every chain, and every weight that has ever held us back. And this is evidenced in our second passage of scripture found in Luke chapter 4, verses 18 through 19. And it says, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for he has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim that captives will be released, that the blind will see, and that the oppressed will be set free, and that the time of the Lord's favor has come." Jesus is reading a passage of scripture from Isaiah in the synagogue, and it prophesies not only his coming, but his role and his purpose while here on the earth. Jesus is ready and willing to set us free from our prisons and to lead us to our best life possible. As he says in John chapter 10, verse 10, "The thief comes in order to steal, kill, and destroy, but I have come so that you may have life, and not just any type of life, but life more abundantly." Jesus is declaring to you today that he is going to set you free from everything that has ever held you back. Today marks the day of your freedom, and today is the day that those chains will begin to come off. Over the next several weeks, as we continue this series, I just hope and wish and pray that you will be cognizant of three things. Number one, that you be made aware of the chains that bind in your life, and that God opens up your eyes so you can see areas in your life that you are weighted down in. Number two, that you be fully convinced, 100% sure of the fact that Jesus is here and he is ready to take every single chain off of your life and remove every limitation. And number three, that as you begin to let Jesus have his perfect work in your life, that you begin to overcome every obstacle, every hindrance that has held you back, and that you begin to run your race without any weights, without any hindrance, and that you will soar to unthinkable heights. As always, I pray that you guys be well, that you continue to be inspired and encouraged in God, and that you continue to believe him for all the impossible things in your life. Have an amazing rest of your Monday, a great week, and join me next week as we continue our discussion on destroying limitations, and we are going to discuss the number one threat to us living a life without limits, and that is fear. So I hope that you join me next week as we discuss overcoming fear. I'll see you soon.